So much of progressing in anything is getting leverage on yourself, having the motivation, getting the motivation to do something, having that outweigh the pain from not doing it. This is in the relative world, relative goals, for example. But as far as consciousness, as far as liberation, it also applies. Experience, note experience, and this thing called thinking. There's nothing wrong with thinking. There's nothing wrong with cognizing, as long as it's only the cognized and it doesn't proliferate. Nibbana. The word nibbana means, one meaning for the word nibbana is lack of trees, nibbana, lack of forest. Don't quote me on that, but it's something like that. An alternate meaning for that in Pali. But it's about lack of proliferation. The cognized is fine, it's the proliferation of the cognized. And that corresponds with a tightening, a subtle ever tightening. It also corresponds with that tightening corresponds with disassociation, subtle disassociation. It's subtle until you really understand it, really see it for what it is. It's been said that until liberation, most experience is disassociation. It has the overlay of thoughts, of attachments on top of it that are disassociating. So reality is not seen as it is. It's like William Blake said, when the doors of perception are cleansed, everything will appear as it is, infinite. You know, that verse just takes on more and more meaning as I've gotten older. I remember reading that as a teenager and loving it and not knowing why, or I didn't know why at the time. But it's a bit of a direct pointing for liberation. But as I was saying, the feeling of disassociation, it's easier to get leverage on yourself, or that's been my experience, getting leverage on myself, understanding disassociation as disassociation, understanding that wrinkle, that wrinkle of proliferation of thoughts, even if it happens, even if it's not so intense, even if it's not completely getting caught up in thoughts, even just a little bit, understanding that as disassociation and understanding how cut off that is and how it doesn't have to be that way. That there's a greater freedom in this very moment. There's an element of paranoia in there. Like, I don't want to be disassociated. I want the fullness, the empty fullness of experience, pure experience. It's like the cost of that is made clear to me, and the motivation to let go is increased. It kind of happens by itself. These things get fuzzy. Who's doing this? me or this process. There's no me. There's a process. But sometimes the process feels like a me, that there's a me in there.